everyone. Good morning. My name is Eleni Summer-Shields. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent in the beautiful Fountain Hills. And I am joined today by Travis Thom. He is with Walled Garden. He's the CEO and co-founder of Walled Garden. Welcome, Travis.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
And welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. I see Jeff is in Vero Beach, Florida. He's saying it's 86 degrees there. So cold front coming, 52 of the low. Yeah. See, that's what happens when you're used to 80s and 90s and it drops down in the 50s. You're like, ooh, cold front. But and Travis, you are in Albuquerque, correct?
Yes, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah, it's nice and sunny here, but 30-minute drive up to the mountains and we're waist deep in snow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the perks of the Southwest is
yes.
similar situation here. You know, if you want that frigid cold, you got it in like an hour. An hour drive.
Right.
Awesome. So just a couple of notes for everyone. This is being recorded. We are also live in our Wise Agent community on Facebook. That's why I keep turning over this way. This is where my phone is, so I can see we are live, and I'll be monitoring questions there. We do have a Q&A section here that you can click on, and you can type out your questions, and we'll be answering those for you. Also, feel free to share things on chat as well. We'll be monitoring that for you. And today we're going to be talking about the best way to generate leads from Facebook and converting them with using Walled Garden and Wise Agents as your CRM. So I'm excited, Travis, to hear about what you guys are doing there at Walled Garden and what you guys do. So if you want to introduce yourself and Walled Garden, I'm sure everyone is excited to hear.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for having me and everyone at Wise Agent. It's a great, powerful tool, so we're excited to be working with you. Again, I'm Travis Thom. I'm a Facebook marketing strategist for the real estate industry. I've been in the industry for about 20 years. I started actually as a real estate agent when I was 18 years old. My first 3 years of real estate were pretty miserable. I remember door knocking on 2,500 homes my first year.
Wow.
and heard no 2,500 different times. And I definitely didn't look like I did now. It looked like I was 12 years old in a suit, right? Trying to get people to allow me to sell their property, and it just wasn't working for me. So quickly after that, I started to dive into internet marketing because I needed to find a way to really be able to leverage technology, be able to position myself in a little bit of a better light and with a lot less energy output. And we then built our own company. At the height of my career, I had 271 listings, which was a really exciting time for me. And I'll kind of dive into how I got those 271 listings. And now we held a pretty large listing inventory, and then really maximized those listings to then win more business and really propel us forward. Moving forward after that, I grew into 3 different real estate companies. And then I got approached by different builders and working with other. And with that, started becoming a national speaker. Shortly after that, I started then running really large Facebook ad campaigns. We are a certified Facebook marketing partner with Facebook. They've badged and certified us. We have generated close to a little over 1 million real estate leads for our Facebook ad campaigns.
Wow.
That has actually contributed to over $500 million in sales for our clients. And I also am an advisor to Facebook. I sit on the Facebook advisory board at Facebook headquarters. So I work directly with them. And we have worked with thousands of agents, helping them build their campaigns. And one of the things we saw over time was that they were having a difficult time creating Facebook ads. It's time consuming and it's a frustrating experience. So that's why we built Walled Garden. But before we dive into Walled Garden, I want to work through different strategies that you can utilize that we've developed that actually helped us when we had our brokerage get to that really high level of generating more listings and more buyers. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what that looks like here. And let me know if you can see my screen okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. So our goal is to really be able to dominate the summer market by starting today, right? We know that a lot of our energy and effort that we do today in real estate is actually going to be harvested months later on. And same thing with leveraging Facebook advertising. It's typically you're playing a little bit of the long game. You are doing actions now, nurturing them with wise agents, converting them, and it's typically weeks or months later. So it's important to really kind of forecast that out a little bit more. And again, as I mentioned, I generated a large listing inventory to where we were really the heavy hitters in our market area. And we did that with understanding that we needed to create a walled garden around every listing that we had. And what to be my walled garden is essentially you're creating a lead capture around every single listing. You're giving that listing out into the world, but you want to hold back some information, pricing details, photos, right? Access to really the entire single property website. So you need to do that to generate leads and generate interest, right? You have some very valuable, it's information that people want. So why not put up a walled garden to really generate those leads from it? And that's what we did. We had this recipe where we had this goal that every time that we had a listing, we would squeeze every marketing ounce that we could out of that listing. And one of the first things we would do is we would build a single property website. Now, back in the day, we would build it by hand using WordPress. We had to have our design team and we had to do the creative copywriting on it and set up the domain, right? All of that kind of process and upload the photos, all the website copy. It can be a difficult process, but with Walled Garden, we're going to show you how to fast track that really quickly. So before you send them over to a single property website, right, we want to capture their information. And we're going to do that using a Facebook lead ad. And a Facebook lead ad is a ad format inside of Facebook that essentially is like a mini landing page. It's a small little form where we get the person's first name, last name, email, phone number, and then we can ask them any kind of qualifying question. So we're going to walk you through how to build that as well. All right, now I need to emphasize again, our goal that we had when we were running these campaigns for each listing is to generate 2 buyers and 1 listing from every campaign we did. Because what we wanted to do is be able to then have new buyers to work with and then the opportunity of a new listing so that we could then rinse and repeat the same methodology, right, as we started to grow from there.
Nice.
Now, if you don't have any listings in today's market, which is, odds are you may not have one or one sold pretty fast that you had, you can borrow other agents' listings, right? With their permission, just like doing an open house for someone else, you can do the same kind of thing, but with marketing their listing on Facebook and be able to generate leads for them. It will generate leads for you, but also promote their property, right? So there's a big opportunity, and I'll walk you through how to do that and how that looks inside of Walled Garden. Now, our goal with this is to run a minimum of 2 ads a month to generate 75 to 100 leads a month. That's the average amount of leads the agents are generating on Walled Garden with the ads that they're running. And it's typically a lower cost per lead in a short amount of time. So with that said, in between now and June, we want to build a pipeline of around 375, maybe 500 leads, depending on your cost per lead or how many ads you're running. We want to build a pond, right? A private pond that you're going to fish out of over time. And you're going to fish out of that pond, right? Using Wise Agent to follow up with them and nurture them over that time. So Walled Garden is going to be the vehicle to get you there, and the Wise Agent is going to be that conversion tool. Now, we've seen a conversion rate of 2.5% for a lot of our agents at Walled Garden, which if you have around 500 leads, we're talking about then maybe 12 and a half of those that are going to convert into actual clients. They could be sellers, they could be buyers, a combination of both. Now, if you get more sellers out of that, then, right, you can continue this methodology and this type of strategy and build and build and build from there. So one of the things we want to do is once we generate those leads, once they come in, it's really important to understand how to segment those prospects for the right opportunity. And you need to ask the right questions to identify if they're a buyer lead or a seller lead. So once they come through walled garden and they're then being sent into Wise Agent, you can go ahead and automate those text messages to be sent out to trigger that right response. And one of the things that we see is a lot of people make the mistake of trying to book an appointment too soon, or asking if they're pre-qualified, or if they want to go ahead and just view the property right away. All of that is just a little too aggressive, and you need to build a relationship first, right? And start to really understand about where they are in their positioning. So one of the best things you can do is follow up with the right question. So for example, we would send out this text message. Hi, Chris. Thank you for checking out the home I'd posted on Facebook. I'm putting together a list of houses that are going to be held open that are in the same price range as this home. Would you like me to send you a list of them? And we've got our first kind of question there. And then we follow up with, also, I'm putting together some home valuations for people in the area. Do you own a home currently? So what are we doing with this follow-up script? One, we are using personalization, right? We got their name from Facebook. We're saying, hi, Chris. So we're addressing them directly. We're thanking them that they took the time to click on the ad on Facebook and go through the process. And what we're doing is we're building reciprocity. We're building value by giving them some sort of item of value and asking them, hey, I'm putting together a list of open houses. Would you like that? We're servicing them as a client before they're even a client. So we're starting to address them in a way that's building customer service, right? These are little subconscious kind of things that we're trickling in there. And we ask them a question, right? Would you like the list? Then from there, we give them an opportunity to respond if they are a homeowner. So if they say, well, yes, I would like a custom home valuation, great. We can mark them as a seller lead. And then we know how to respond appropriately from there, which ideally would be something along the lines of, great, thanks so much. Can you tell me more about your property? Are there any updates, new paint, new windows, something that you've done that would increase the value? As you know, property values in this area have drastically increased over the past year. I want to make sure that I really dial this down and get you the right price. So again, you're following up by being service oriented, and you're not asking for anything yet. You're asking how you can serve them, and that's going to identify buyer or seller. Right? That really helps there.
Yeah, that's great, because then you can, categorizing them, so then you can, just know where they belong in your pipeline later on down the road, when you probably have forgotten who this person is, especially if you're getting a couple hundred of these a month. That's a lot of leads that you're generating. You should really be maintaining through a system. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, you want to be able to segment them properly and
Yeah.
have the right type of follow-up. Because a lot of people are generating leads on Facebook today, but not everyone's asking the right questions to understand, is this person a seller lead, right? Do they own a
Yeah.
home? And
Yeah.
then you can curate your response, right, a little bit better based on that feedback. So once you have a pretty healthy list of those leads that are coming in, you also want to then take that list and use it in a way that's a little bit more of an opportunity of leverage. You're going to reach out to your existing database of sellers. Those are your past clients, your friends, your family, right? Your sphere of influence. That's where about 44% of most of your business comes from, right? It's going to be referrals. So you want an opportunity to reach out to them during this time and show them a couple things. One, I've generated all of these buyers, and you give them the exact amount. Right? I've generated or just say I have 86 buyers looking for a home that's similar to yours in this area. I just, wanted to let you know there's, low inventory. Are you planning on selling in the near future? Because if you do, I've got a huge inventory of buyers that are ready to look. It's a great way to strike up a conversation with your sphere of influence, past clients, because you never know. They might say, actually, we are getting ready to list our home. We thought of you, but we want to wait until June, right? Or whatever it might be. Or you know what? Can you send us a market report, a custom valuation on what's going on? It gives you an opportunity to strike a conversation. So you're really just taking every little piece of your lead generation and the listing marketing, and you're monetizing it in these different ways, right? Just every little angle. We're squeezing everything we can out of it.
Yeah, and at the same time building that relationship, because you're learning more about why they're putting it off until June, what's prompting them to sell. You're building that relationship and maintaining that. So that's, yeah,
It's key. Yeah, it's
yeah,
key. Yeah, being able having an excuse to reach out, essentially,
yeah,
right? So every time you market listing through Walled Garden, another opportunity that you have is to share the single property websites with your past leads, with past homeowners, and essentially to your top priority database. So you would reach out to them and let them know how you're marketing the home. So for example, I would share this with them via text message and say, "Hi, Marcia, I wanted to share this with you, this new listing that we just put on the market. Thought of you guys when we listed it. This is one of the single party websites we build for our listing clients, and then we promote it to targeted buyers on Facebook. By the way, did you ever decide on when you might list your home?" So what you're doing here is you're doing two things. You're showing the past clients that are now homeowners or your sphere of influence that you are active in the market, that you have listings, and that beyond that, you actually are creating marketing material for it and how you market it. So they look at you as an authority figure, as someone that is actually an action taker that is reaching out and doing this thing. Because I think if you're doing this for that client, how would they handle your property, right? And you're showing them by this kind of slight education. You're educating them by an opportunity, but you're also displaying your marketing skill set and saying, this is how we do it, right? This is what we do. Again, you're just trying to leverage every little piece of the listing itself to generate more conversations, right? And build that type of persuasion and influence by showing them. Now, when you move towards this aspect of it, this is where you're going to then post the property on social media. This is just a post, right? This is not an ad. This is just something you're going to post on your personal Facebook business page or wherever else you can. And you're going to tell them a little bit of the story about how you created the single party website and how you create these campaigns. So now what you're doing is you're connecting with people that are typically outside of your sphere of influence. These are people that you are associated with on social media that you may not have their email or their phone number to send out a text message or those kind of things. And you would introduce a story by saying something like, "I'm honored to bring this brand new listing to the market. This gorgeous home deserves the best marketing to really highlight its unique style." And then talk about what you do, how you get massive exposure by creating single party websites and what you've done and how excited you are to really showcase it. There are key players in your market that I'm sure are on the top of your mind that you identify with that do this exact same kind of thing, where you know that they are the market leaders because you see that they're doing this, right? Now, we live in kind of a strange time right now, especially on a digital level, where if we don't see people inside of Facebook or Instagram, we don't see what they're doing, we often start to kind of forget, right? They kind of fade in the background a little bit. And so it's important to make sure that you're top of mind with those individuals and that you give them the opportunity to either comment, right? To click on something to connect with you and send you a message, right? Something that would resonate with them. All right, so those are the strategies that we developed, that we exercised to really grow our listing inventory. And during that time, it was kind of a difficult process, right? It would take us almost a day to do all of that, right? It would take us about 2.5 hours to create the Facebook ad campaign, to build a single property website, right? To do all of that. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to really be able to master Facebook advertising without having to do any of that manually. So let me walk through and show that too.
Okay. And I was gonna say, while you're preparing that, I love how the content on that ad wasn't about, like, it wasn't primarily about, oh, this is a beautiful 4-bedroom, blah, blah, blah house. It wasn't about the house. It was about what value the agent is bringing to them. So that is a huge thing, because a lot of times that's what people want to hear. I mean, the houses are going to change and fluctuate for many people, but for pretty much everyone, everyone wants to know, what value do you bring and how are you going to help them in the process that they're going to be going through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they look for those signals,
Yeah.
right? We look for signals of success and those breadcrumbs that you can leave that are opportunities for them to reach out, right? We're all kind of, one ad or one post away from someone reaching out to us and saying that resonated with me. I want to work with you, right? In some way, shape, or form. Um, so this is Walled Garden. And again, we developed Walled Garden because we saw the need to be able to really simplify Facebook marketing, especially for generating more leads for your listings and getting the brand awareness out there and generating leads. As I mentioned, it was a difficult process for us when we were doing it. And over the past 7.5 years, we have built tens of thousands of Facebook ad campaigns at my advertising agency before we developed Walled Garden. And so we've taken the best elements, the champion campaigns, the parts of the campaigns that were working really well. And we then developed this software and baked into the software. So it's making those hard decisions for you. So I'm going to walk you through what that looks like here. You would log in here or here. That's going to take you to this verification page where you're then going to verify your local MLS. So you would type in the MLS name or the state. Then from there, you can identify the MLS listing ID that you want to promote or the agent MLS ID if you want to populate all of your listings, or the MLS office ID if you want to populate all of the listings for the office. And that way you can ask permission to market someone else's listings. Now, once you go through that, you're going to verify, and it's going to log you in directly into the Walled Garden dashboard. And then you're going to get to see all the listings that are attached to you or to your office or to the agent that you are leveraging their listings with their permission. So for example, we want to go ahead and say, let's view Facebook ad for this. We're going to create a Facebook ad for that property.
And just to be clear, so you're putting in all that information from the MLS in here. So then all of the images, all of the description, all of that information just kind of carries over for the ad. So it's a little shortcut there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that way you don't have to do any kind of you don't have to do any kind of secondary data inputting.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or we spend all that time.
The dreaded duplicate data.
Yes. Yes. We've all been there. And so we wanted to eliminate that, and then it just generates it for you. The ad is auto created for you. The ad copywriting is auto created for you. The ad imagery is already pulled directly from the MLS, and the call to action headline is written for you and some basic stats on the property. So what we've done is really given you that shortcut to building a Facebook ad. Once you do that, it's going to be running from your Facebook business page. You have to be an admin of a business page and choose that page. We have what's called top copy, which is this right here. Top copy is the part of the ad copy that gets the attention and summarizes what the ad is offering, essentially. And it's also kind of a call to action, telling them what to do. We then have this part of the ad copy, which is called teaser copy. It's giving them just enough information, but leaving them wanting a little bit more, so they click on the ad to figure out what it is about. And then our call to action headline, which is saying, see all the photos now, which is really critical to tell people what to do and what to do next. Now from here, if you want to edit this, you can go ahead to this drop-down menu, and we have several different variations of top copy. We've battle tested over 10,000 different ad campaigns to figure out what are the different types of top copy that get the highest engagement, that generate the highest click-through rate. The higher the click-through rate, then the more leads and the lower cost per lead, which is really important. Now, this is the description here that's pulled directly from the local MLS. You can see it's the description in the MLS that talks about the property. You can edit this if you want. And so we can say just listed. So if you want to go ahead and add a little bit more there, you can. And you can go through and choose the best image. We've done a lot of eye tracking studies, and so has Facebook, to identify the ad creative and what works best. So we have a little pro tip here that says, choose exterior photos. Exterior photos generate a much higher click-through rate than interior images. Interior images get a much lower click-through rate. And so if you have any kind of ad campaigns you're running and you're wondering why it's not performing well, odds are it's probably because you may have chosen an interior image. So choose an exterior one. Traditionally, a curbside image is going to do really well. Or if you have a really beautiful image like a backyard photo, that's also going to do really well.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we have discovered, again, over running tens of thousands of Facebook ad campaigns, where we started to see a trend and we started to dissect the different ads and understand, well, why does this one have more leads at a lower cost per lead and a much higher click-through rate? And why does this one have really poor performance, right? Really high cost per lead, low amount of leads. And it really all came down to exterior photo versus interior photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really, really key. So here, this is the ad duration. How long do we want the ad to run for? So we have it set at a minimum of 10 days. And the reason why I have it set a minimum of 10 days is Facebook goes through a learning phase in the Facebook ad auction. Anytime you launch an ad inside of Facebook, it goes into an auction. That auction has to go through this learning phase, this learning process to understand and identify who to serve the ad to based on people engaging with the ad. And then it starts to learn and starts to grow from there. If you do it less than 10 days, you're cutting the learning phase in half, right? Or even more in half. And it just doesn't have enough data to be able to make smart decisions and move in the right direction for you. So that's why it's a minimum of 10 days. You can scale it up to 30 if you really want to max it out and run it for as long as possible, or something in between. Daily budget, this is $10 a day. You can scale it up to 50 if you want a ton of leads in a very short amount of time, or something in between. But for this example, it's going to be just 10 days. Now, the reason why I have it at $10 a day is because the Facebook ad auction requires that you are bidding a pretty healthy amount to the ad audience size. Now, we scale this and make these decisions for you. So we do this type of budget spending where we optimize the ad budget in real time with the ad auction so that it's spending the right amount, but it's bidding a little bit higher than the competition. And we outbid the competition. So that way your ad can serve out to more people, to the right audience, and get more leads, and then really start to win the ad auction. Now from here, it's going to be a default 15-mile radius around the property address. If you want to scale that to a little bit more, then you can, and then our ad budget will move up appropriately to compensate for the growth of the audience size. So it's continuing to bid properly in the ad auction, and it's not going to perform less than what it should. If you want to target a different city, you can type that in here. Maybe you might target, let's say, New York City. And then we're going to go ahead and target those prospects that are more than likely to buy or sell a home that might be interested then in moving to that specific location, right, that the property is in. Now,
so then when you say target a different city, that will bypass the address, the property address.
Correct, exactly. Yeah. So now we're targeting just a completely different city and not the local area.
Yeah. Okay.
But at a default, it's set to the 15-mile radius around the property to those individuals. So our price, right, is the 10 days at $10 a day, and we have our marketing service fee for our platform built into this. But your ad spend there is $100. That's going straight into Facebook. You hit purchase, and then it's going to take you to the credit card details. You type in those details there. Oh, and go ahead and X out of that. And that will then launch the ad. So in about 5 to 10 minutes, the ad will be off and running. Now, we work really closely with Facebook, and we use the Facebook Marketing API. So because of that relationship and the way that we've engineered this, our ads get globally approved. They never get denied or rejected. Or about 64% of agents are having their ads denied or rejected right now. There's about 70 different reasons why.
Yeah,
right?
And that was a big question that a lot of people brought up was, my ads are getting rejected. What do I do to overcome that? And this would be something that they can do to overcome that, right?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of different reasons that your ad might get rejected. And we can kind of cover some of those towards the end of the Q&A, but it can be tricky and it's really frustrating because you don't know why, and Facebook isn't really transparent a lot of the times of why they denied it. So what we did is we made sure that we baked into the software global decision making so that it would make sure that your ads get approved instantly and that we take away any element or risk of your ad getting denied or rejected. And the review process is actually expedited. So instead of it taking hours or a day, it takes 5 to 10 minutes for it to actually start running. Now, once it starts running, we're now targeting people that either own a home or that live in the area or rent a home within that 15-mile radius. And then we're leveraging around 50,000 unique data points on that user base. We're identifying key characteristics, behaviors, and habits that they've done online and offline that would indicate that they're more than likely to buy or sell in the near future. And we use what's called alpha stimming targeting. And that's a targeting that we developed where we identify some of the top kind of overlying characteristics. Maybe they downloaded Zillow, maybe they looked at realtor.com recently, or they went through an online mortgage calculator, or maybe they opened up Credit Karma and checked on their credit, or they shared an article with a friend about a specific housing development, or they watched a video on Facebook about a new property that was just listed. We aggregate that data and analyze it and start showing the ad to those individuals. Now, once they see the ad and they click on it, the ad will flip around into a Facebook lead ad, that mini form that we went over a few minutes ago, where I showed you that we can get their first name, last name, email, and phone number directly from their social profile. So it's auto-populated. So we get their contact information, and then we ask them a qualifying question, which is when do they plan on buying a new home? Next 30 days, all the way up to 12 months, and just looking. That way you have some kind of heat priority index, right? And then that information is sent to you via text message, via email, and then routed over to your preferred CRM. So we would send it over to Wise Agent, and Wise Agent would have all of that data, right? The property that they inquired about, first name, last name, email, phone number, and then when they plan on buying a new home. Yeah. Now, that way you can kick off any kind of text, email automation sequence and start to really be able to leverage Wise Agent to get those conversations started. From here, it's about 3 seconds for them to click on the ad, go through the lead ad form, and then they end up over at our single property website. So every time you create an ad inside of Walled Garden, we instantly create a beautiful single property website for every single ad you create. That way you don't have to design a website or upload photos or try and think of any kind of website copy. It's all been done for you. It's a great way to really showcase the property in a beautiful light. And it gives your brand a little bit of an elevated status because it has the feel and look of a professional marketing agency that is doing this work for you. And that way you can also impress your homeowners and show them this is what you're doing for them. Also impress future clients and show them on listing presentations, this is how you market the properties, right? You build a single property website for them and you create high performing, high converting Facebook ad campaigns. Now, the cool thing with this, beyond the click to call and tap to email, is that these single property websites are designed specifically to speak to the Facebook algorithm. And what I mean by that is when Facebook sends, when you send traffic off of Facebook to any website or to any landing page, Facebook does a couple things. They send their spiders out real quick, right? These bots go and they check out the website, the destination URL. They try to identify, is this the right user experience? And what they track is they look for 27 unique identifying items on that website. And they then use that as a way to judge and alter and weight your performance in the Facebook ad auction, which is going to dictate how your campaign is going to perform. So for instance, if your website takes longer than 2.5 seconds to load, if it's not mobily optimized, if it doesn't have an updated Facebook privacy policy, if it doesn't have clean continuity that carries over from the ad copy or the ad imagery over to the website, then it's not going to do well. Facebook is going to penalize you in the ad auction. and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to penalize you in the ad auction because of this. We don't want to show this to a lot of people because it's a bad user experience. It's suboptimal. So what we're going to do is say, we're not going to show this to as many people, and your ad will hit ad fatigue really quickly, which means that it's going to be a high cost per lead. Not a lot of leads are going to come through, and then a lower quality of prospects that are actually going to be generated. So we designed these to really be dovetail exactly what Facebook looks for. So that way the ad performance is actually rewarded, and then we generate more leads. So our click-through rate is about 250% higher than the national average. Click-through rate is people clicking on the ad and moving forward to the next step. Our engagement rate is 300 to 500% higher than national average. Our cost per lead is 70% less than the national average. So right now, our average cost per lead is about $2.17 per lead that people are generating. Some are at 80 cents. Some come in at $4.89. But the typical cost per lead is $2.17. And again, our whole goal with Walled Garden was to develop it in a way that took, all of our experience, the millions of dollars in ad spend that we've spent, almost a decade of my experience running Facebook ad campaigns around the world, and basically baking it into the software, and then figuring out in less than 30 seconds that we can grab a property and let's create a Facebook ad for it. And maybe we might want to edit that. I'm going to go through and say price, location of photos. I'm going to change maybe this image to that, and then say I want to run this for, let's say, 12 days. Hit agree, hit purchase. And now we have a high performing, high converting Facebook ad, generating leads, sending them over to a beautiful single property website, all less than 30 to 60 seconds, right? Just done for you.
Now, there's quite a few questions that have come in.
Yeah.
One of them is, so what happens if they already have a website, for a single property website for the property that they're listing?
Great question. If you already have one, which is great that you've already taken that initiative, but Walled Garden, we only use our single property websites because we don't want to send it to outside websites that don't speak directly with our software, for the exact reason of the Facebook ad performance, right? We want to deliver the highest performance as possible, and that way we use our websites that speak directly to the Facebook marketing API. Because it's hard to say if that website you have is
It's optimized.
mobile optimized, right? Or if it has an updated Facebook privacy policy, or the metadata or schema data is up to date to actually tell Facebook and the algorithm the right things that we want it to communicate.
Okay, yeah. And so is there a way to, when you're creating the ad, is there, like I know for real estate, they have to have the housing, the fair housing, all of those terms that they're doing. Is that all kind of already embedded, that they're complying with that, and
Yes.
that's all in here, and they're
Yeah, so exactly. So the special ed category has already been selected, and that way we bypass any of those choices, that you don't have to have a headache of trying to navigate around that.
okay. And the ad would show up in their business manager account, right, on their Facebook account.
So the ad actually goes through Walled Gardens Facebook Business Manager through the Facebook Marketing API.
Okay.
Because we're building this through the Facebook Marketing API. Since it is a software, it's running through ours, but it'll be running through your business page. So
Okay.
when you first go through and you set up your account, what's going to happen is you're going to go through and choose the business page you want it to run from. So you have to be an admin of that business page. You would go through, you'd say, okay, I'm going to choose this one, Venture Realty Group. I'm going to configure this information that's going to show up on the bottom of the single property website. That's already going to be pre-filled up for you, but if you want to make any edits, you can. Configure lead routing. This is where then you're going to type in the phone number that's we're going to send the leads to, your email, and then if you have a lead parsing email, right, that's where you're going to send it to. But we do have a Wise Agent integration, which I'll go ahead and showcase now to you under your account tab. You can scroll down here, and then under API integrations, you go ahead and hit Wise Agent and enable, and then you're going to type in your Wise Agent integration API key, and then that's going to send those leads directly into Wise Agent for you. So hopefully that answered that question.
Okay. Yeah. And a lot of questions from we've got some Canadian folks here, and they're wanting to know, does this work in Canada? Can they put their listings from Canada in here?
So we love Canada. We're actively working hard to get there. So just know that that is on our roadmap, and we are rolling this out across the rest of the nation, and then heading up towards Canada to make sure this is available for every agent in brokerage. Right now, we are live in Florida. We're live in Houston and Austin, Texas. New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, part of Southern Colorado with RE Colorado, and part of Minnesota. And we're continuing to move forward into those other states there. So just know that if we're not in your market just yet, we are actively working towards that. If you are wanting us to be in your market, go to our main homepage, walledgardenhq.com, and then click on this chat button here and communicate with our support team and let them know I would like walled garden in my market area, and we'll put you on our list so we can reach out to you as we start to expand and grow.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so is the fee for walled garden, is that I know like you're showing right here, it's $100 for the ad spend, and then the remainder of that price is the fee for walled garden. Is there an additional membership fee or anything else, or is it just that marketing fee that's there?
just that. Yeah, so our fee is our platform fee for the technology, for the creating the Facebook ad, the single party website, and then the machine learning software that really does all of that for you is $39 plus 15% of the ad spend, and it's pay per ad, pay as you go. We wanted to give everyone the opportunity to just log in and be able to launch an ad without having to commit towards a long-term contract or subscription. We know everyone has different goals, so we wanted to provide something to where they felt like they could just jump in and launch a single ad or come back and launch others. But that is our service fee.
Okay. And so if they already have a Facebook ad out there and they want to boost it for something else, that's not something that walled garden does, right? This is just ad creation, not boosting of anything existing. Is that correct?
Correct. Exactly. And so this is using the listing data and really just automating the process for you. And it's using the lead generation objective inside Facebook, which is using lead ad forms, and it's built for lead generation. I know a lot of people have kind of mentioned boosting. And boosting posts really is not Facebook advertising. It's designed underneath the Facebook algorithm that the actual engineering kind of language for it is called PPE, which stands for page post engagement. That's what that boosting a post is optimized for, and the algorithm is for page post engagement, which is basically comments, likes, and shares. And it's really kind of the bottom basement lowest element of, if you would consider it Facebook advertising, which Facebook has come out in several meetings and said boosting a post is not Facebook advertising. The ad manager is where advertising actually takes place, which is choosing those different objectives. So if you're boosting posts right now and you feel discouraged because you feel like you're not getting results, that's why. It's really only designed for comments, likes, and shares, And that is just engagement. It's not designed in the algorithm to get people to message you, to click on an ad and move forward to a specific destination, or to open up a lead ad form, right, and generate leads. So it performs wildly different in the ad auction. It's categorized in a whole separate, different type of way, and optimized for really just the lowest level. So just keep that in mind as you're creating those. So walled garden itself is designed to promote and lead generation for listings, and then auto create these single property websites for you. But as we start to grow, we are adding on video ad capabilities where you can run video retargeting to these leads, or video retargeting to your sphere of influence, and to other prospects. We're going to start to add a lot of different features on here. I won't go through all of them today, but I just wanted to kind of let you know that walled garden is starting to add a lot of the features that are going to make Facebook automation as easy as possible. Our whole goal and premise is being able to create advanced Facebook ad campaigns in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, that I mean, just even doing that is a huge feat, because that can take some time to create these ads. Coming up with the content and the context of the ad. One of the questions that we're getting here is, when you're posting these, can you have, and I think we already kind of gone through this, but I know John asked us a little while ago, was when you're creating the ad, can you say it's coming soon, or just sold, or pending, or under contract, just so you can get people generating those leads.
Right. So you do a couple of drop-down menus here of different, what we call top copy. If we have an awesome investment opportunity, right, or too good not to share. There's some kind of boilerplate ones that we've battle tested that have done really well. But if you want to go and edit your own, where you would say something along the lines of, coming soon or just sold, then you can type that in here. Or if you want to say, just listed, that would give you the opportunity to write your own ad copy, and be able to display that so that you can type in any other kind of ad copy there. Now, what you type in here is not going to affect the single property website. The single property website is pulling all of that data instantly from your listing in MLS. So if there's any changes made in MLS, those changes will then appear on the single property website, but you can edit the ad to go ahead and say something like that.
Okay. And then how about Instagram? I know that's a big one for a lot of people, is Instagram.
Yes.
What is walled garden doing with Instagram?
So that's coming very soon. We wanted to be very thoughtful with Instagram and the design of the ads on Instagram, specifically for Instagram ad stories, which is definitely more of a vertical format. Which, as I started to edit this, there's this photo here that kind of showcases that almost, which is more vertical kind of format. And with that, we'll be creating animated ads from your listing photos, so that it will have some overlay text, different video theme styles, where it can just start to move through those. But we want to be very thoughtful on how that actually works and looks. So that is coming soon. We're planning on the next 60 days to release Instagram placement.
Okay, nice. And I know there's a question here: does walled garden respond to inquiries that come in from the ad? And that's where Wise Agent comes into play. So you would use Wise Agent, our lead automation, and you would be able to set up your autoresponder there, either text or email. Email still works, but text is obviously a little bit better open rate on that. And then getting them on a drip campaign, getting them to be able to really engage with you. So you can use our pre-designed drip campaigns, or you can create your own. And I see you're showing the integration, your integration page, where they would enter in their API key. So just from your Wise Agent account, you would copy and paste your API key that's unique to your account. You would paste it in here, and all your leads will be coming in, and they'll be sourced properly, so you know they're coming in from walled garden, so you can reply to them specifically for that that ad and for that property that you've listed.
Yes.
And yeah, so I will show you, so let me show you my screen here. Let me share. Let me share my screen. So from here, I gotta put on my glasses. So from here, you'll just go into the lead rules where you'll set up the rule from that particular, from the particular ad. It'll be sourced with walled garden here, and then you can put them on a drip campaign. So if you want to send them a video, you want to set them up on your call list, most definitely. You guys are paying for these leads, so making sure that you're responding to them with an email and a text message is great, but don't forget that phone call too, because that's really important. If you're getting their phone number, reaching out to them personally is a great way of doing that, and then being able to categorize it. I do love your email, your auto responding thing. So we're going to work with Travis on getting some of those autoresponders in Wise Agent, so you guys can have those kind of dialogues. I know some people were asking, I don't know who was asking that, but there was a question about, would walled garden respond, and do we have that access to that verbiage? So I'll work with Travis on getting that into Wise Agent for you guys. So you can have that on your text response and automatically text them. You can send a video after at that point. Yeah, I think it's always great to have a video. We talk about video all the time on the webinar here, about talking about who you are as an agent. So bringing that, same kind of thing from your ads to your responses. So upload the same imagery, upload, or similar looking imagery. So everything is looking consistent. So from your ad to your landing page to the response, everything should really flow well together. That's what Travis was saying earlier too, right? Is that you want everything to look cohesive, because it just makes for a better, I think for a better conversation, a better flow for everyone. They know, oh yeah, I saw this picture before, right?
Yeah, that consistency builds a lot of trust, and that's what people look for, is those visual clues typically that show them that this is that individual, that they're connected, right? It kind of marries your brand a little bit more, so it helps ensure for better conversion rates when you do follow up. I saw that someone mentioned they had a question about the Facebook ad auction, which I'm more than happy to go into. So the Facebook ad auction, anytime you run a Facebook ad, you're in the Facebook ad manager, you're then going to choose an objective, and you're going to then design and build the ad, the audience, and you launch it. What you're doing is you're entering into a blind auction. So Facebook has a blind auction where you're competing with hundreds, maybe even thousands or tens of thousands of other advertisers. And the auction is making billions of decisions every hour. So what happens there is, if you didn't have a Facebook ad auction, we would all be flooded all day long with ads in our newsfeed. There's about 1,500 different posts or stories that are trying to make it into your newsfeed every single day, but only around 300 of those stories actually make it. And in between those 300 are then ads that are winning the ad auction, that have been selected to be placed in that specific ad placement, whether it's Facebook Marketplace or Facebook mobile newsfeed, whatever it might be, right? They are competing to show up in your newsfeed. Now, the ad auction itself is where it's going through the blind auction, and Facebook has to make these billions of decisions with machine learning, and they got to try and understand which ads should make it to the right people, based on relevancy, based on their interests and habits, but also based on the ad itself and then the destination URL of that ad. So there's the Facebook algorithm is called bear. So think of a big, mean kind of grizzly bear, right? So this might show up a little bit backwards for you guys, but bear bear is stands for bidding, and then we have expected action, and so expected action is the E and the A, and then relevancy. So the bidding part is how much are you bidding in the ad auction, And that's your a combination of things. That could be your daily ad spend, it could be the lifetime budget, it could be the bid cap, it could be how you are bidding as the bid cap. It could be your cost per action that you're bidding, which gets to be a little bit more advanced if you're doing that. So the bidding part, Facebook looks and they say, all right, you've got this audience you're going after. How much should we? How much are you bidding, right, to go after this audience? So think of a giant swimming pool, for example. Let's say that swimming pool is filled with coffee, and that swimming pool is our audience that we're going to run the ad to. But let's say you're creating this ad on your own outside of walled garden, and you choose an audience that is the size of 1 million people because you believe that you should get in front of this 1 million people, right? It's a lot of people, you get excited about it. Well, that coffee, that pool filled with that is that 1 million audience. Now we're going to come along and we've got, let's say, this mug, and this is filled with creamer. And this is our ad spend. Well, that ad spend, I'm going to pour in this creamer into the pool, but I'm only spending $5 a day, right? Now, if I pour that into the pool, it's not going to make a big difference in terms of creamer. That $5 in ad spend is going to get really diluted really, really quickly. We're not even going to notice it because that's a lot of coffee in that pool. It's 1 million people. But if I have like a 50-gallon drum, right, and I drag that 50-gallon drum over, and that is my creamer, and that's my ad spend, and let's say that 50-gallon drum is more like $300 a day in ad spend, and I pour that in, that's going to make a difference, right? That's going to make a dent. Then we're going to win the ad auction because we are outbidding our competition and we're competing with a lot of different advertisers. So you have to think, how much are you bidding? And the golden rule of thumb typically is that you should be spending about $10 a day per 100,000 people in the ad audience, give or take a little bit, depending on the objective that you've chosen. For lead generation, $10 a day per 100,000 people is kind of the basic average you should be spending. Now, expected action, that is based on the objective that you chose. So if it's lead generation, for example, the expected action is going to be based on Facebook is predicting what people are going to be doing based on the objective that you chose. Lead generation, right? Are we generating leads? Are they doing the expected action? If they are, then that expected action tells Facebook, okay, we're getting leads, people are clicking on this, and that means the user base has spoken. There's something good here. They enjoy it, so we're going to serve this ad up a little bit more in the ad auction, right? Starting to win the ad auction. Now, the common denominator, the basic type of expected action is click-through rate. And your click-through rate is people clicking on the ad and moving forward to the next step, to a landing page, to a website, opening up a Facebook lead ad, right? Going to a video, whatever it might be. Click-through rate is what tells Facebook the expected action is working. Industry standard click-through rate for real estate ads is 1%. That's the benchmark, right? If you're doing less than 1%, something's wrong, right? Ad copy, ad imagery, whatever it might be. If you're doing above 1%, you're doing really well, right? So 1% is our kind of baseline there. Then relevancy. So relevancy is a combination of how relevant is your ad to the audience, the target audience you chose, the ad imagery, the ad copy. Does it speak to the ad audience based on their psychographic profile and life stage of where they are, their decision-making as a consumer? Is it relevant to them in that age group? Now, it also has another type of relevancy. How relevant is it to, how relevant is the ad to the destination URL, which is really, really critical. How relevant is the ad imagery, the ad copy, right? And to the audience, does it carry over? So there's relevant continuity, and there shouldn't be a break in that continuity, because if there is, a lot of the times, then it basically tells Facebook, this is not the place we were supposed to send them. And it's a bad user experience. So all of these have a weighted measurement in the ad auction. You're not going to win every time with every single one, but you can do really your best effort to make sure you're bidding the right amount and that you're getting the expected action. And how you get the expected action is having the right ad copy with the right ad imagery that speaks to the desired audience, that actually tells people what to do, right? Click here to move forward. Click here to see all the photos and details, right? And that the relevancy is making sure that your ad campaign is relevant to the audience and that the actual ad is relevant to the actual destination URL. So here's the ad auction itself, right? This triangle. This is how Facebook kind of looks at it. Over here, you have your top high intent prospects. So they're kind of floating around here. These are the prospects that are the cream of the crop folks that you want to get in front of, right? And then below here, this is kind of a wider net. These are the prospects that are the healthy prospects that plan to buy probably in the next 3 to 9 months, right? This is majority of the Facebook ads that we should be going after. And then down here, this is the kind of the bottom basement leads that are the ones that are like mickeymouse.com, right? The ones that you call and they yell at you. The ones that, really aren't the favorable prospects or leads. So those prospects, if you lose the ad auction, let's say you're losing on your bidding or the expected action or any of this bear algorithm, Facebook is going to serve your ad to these folks. They're not going to tell you that you're losing the ad auction, right? They're not going to give you any kind of warning notifications or emails or call you up or stop running the ad. The ad will continue to run. It'll just be served to these folks, right? And unless you know how to read optimization data and how to optimize the ad campaign, you're probably not going to know that you're losing it, right? But here, if you're winning the ad auction and you're doing all of these actions right, your ad is going to be served to these folks, right? You're going to get in front of these candidates here, the ideal prospects. You might sometimes reach this, which is a little smaller segment of the audience. You might float up into here every now and then, but most of the time, you want to be going after this. That's how you win the ad auction, right? So with Walled Garden, we have made all of these decisions for you. The bidding, we bid with the right audience size. We shrink or expand the audience to the right ad budget. And we work and optimize the ad budget hour by hour in the ad auction for you with real-time optimization. The expected action, our ads are designed for a higher click-through rate based on everything from the relevancy and the fast-loading websites to updated privacy policies, right? There's a lot of things that go into this expected action. We've already built and designed that for you, so you can't really alter that, right, or manipulate it accidentally. The relevancy is also already been designed for you. So that's why the walled garden ads perform so well. And they go up here and they get then more leads at a lower cost per lead because of everything that we've built. Now, I myself have actually done side-by-side campaigns. So I've decided I'm going to create a walled garden campaign, and then I'm going to take the exact same listing, and I'm going to create a different single property website. I'm going to create my own campaign. Now, this is me as a certified Facebook marketing strategist that's recognized as one of the leading experts in the world in real estate Facebook ads, who spent millions of dollars in Facebook ads. I'm building it. Walled Garden outperformed my ad campaign by cost per lead, by reach, by frequency, all of that, outperformed it. More leads, more action, and higher click-through rate. So it's a software that is just doing that for you. And it's hard to beat automation, machine learning software. Yeah. And that's what it is. That's the ad auction.
Wow, Travis, that was a great explanation of how the auction and the whole process with Facebook ads works. I know that's something that's been a big question on a lot of people's minds is how does Facebook actually work, so I can digest this and then make informed decisions. So that was great. And just for everyone to know, this is recorded, so you guys can go back and watch this, and we'll take some snippets and post this in our communities for you guys to really get some of those highlights of that information. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. I know we're running short on time, and so I know there was one last question that people were chatting about. Was they wanted to just go over your subscription and how to get to how to join Walled Garden and how to start leveraging this for their own listings.
Yes, certainly. So with Walled Garden, there's no subscription. So there's no contract, there's no commitment. It's really almost built like Amazon, where you kind of go in and you say, I want that, and you click it and you pay, and then you move on.
Yeah.
So you have that opportunity. It's at wallgardenhq.com. That's our domain name, wallgardenhq.com. And then once you go, you just log in with your Facebook login, and then you're going to go to the ad when you create the ad. And the only time that you're going to pay is then when you actually go to run the ad, right? And that's going to be there. So we charge $39 plus 15% of the ad spend. So that's built in there for you. And then you just move forward and do that. So it's not reoccurring. It's not monthly. You can just purchase one ad or however many you want to.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, and we are fully integrated, so you can get, then once you get these leads coming in, because they're such valuable leads, you don't want to miss the follow-up, right? It's one thing to get them and acquire them, but then it's really, there's no value to it unless you follow up with them. So make sure you make that connection with Wise Agent from your walled garden account, so then you can start replying to them automatically using that automation, just like your fabulous explanation of the auction, how that works. It's done through software, and sometimes you just can't beat that automation. When you're getting 500, 100 leads a month coming in, that's really hard to reply to every single one of them and not miss one if you're doing it manually. If you're using software like Wise Agent to reply to them automatically, you're not going to miss any. So that's kind of guaranteed. That's what we do here. So
Speed to lead is yeah, absolutely critical.
yeah.
So in the long-term nurture, and that's what's great with Wise Agent, is that it offers that. So this is a perfect way to be able to leverage both technologies to say, I set it up, I'm going to hit these buttons in walled garden, hit the buttons inside of Wise Agent, and then you just let the automation do it for you. And that's one of the ways that a lot of agents are being able to scale and also win back their time, right? Spend time with, friends and family and doing what they love, but also selling more, is being able to just have it done for you and leverage technology.
Exactly. So leveraging software like Walled Garden and Wise Agent is what helps you, kind of get to that next level as an agent. And, and that's why we've partnered with Walled Garden. It's a great software that will help you generate those leads. So then we can take those leads in for you, digest them, and then respond to them for you the way you want to respond to them, and just keep growing your business. So Travis, I can't thank you enough for joining us and just informing us all on everything Facebook related. You were fantastic today. Thank you so much.